Hello everyone. Today is Friday, February 6th, 2026, and looking back at the market activity from last night, we saw that Bitcoin's price experienced a significant drop, eventually hitting a notable new local low right around the $60,000 mark. For some, this might be a surprise, something unexpected, but since you're watching these videos, I think it wasn't a surprise for you. When I publish videos every week, this is the second video this week because there's an event that we've been waiting for a long time. And so let me just say that looking back under the previous video, I actually didn't find very many questions at all. The question is, will it return to 80 to 90,000? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. In fact, right now we are in the stage of the atmospheric re-entry, reaccumulation. That is, we still have quite a lot of time, roughly until September 2026, let's say until October 2026, to begin reaccumulating. Now we will be forming a solid market bottom. Here it is, it might look like this. Or it might be different. That will be the next question. But in fact, we've already started doing this. My plan remains the same. I'll put it this way. 80% of the trades that I wanted to enter have already been activated. Those positions are already open. Most of those positions were actually opened just yesterday, and it is important to note that these were all specific limit orders that had been published and placed on the market quite a long time ago. I actually want to take 2 steps back for a moment to explain the broader context, because as we look at the overall strategy, it really struck a chord with me. If you're in a bad mood, I recommend you go to this chart and count these 242 comments. Honestly, let me tell you, it was completely absolute madness. When I originally published this specific post and said that we were going to an unprecedented fall, especially to such extreme levels, but madness or not, the fact remains that this is exactly what has occurred. Next, it was madness. Week after week, talking about the fact that there would be a drop, and as you can see, we've only covered a third of the way. We've made it. These are the conservative levels I mentioned, $64,000 to $66,000, and we've already seen $60,000. Maybe even lower is possible, but we'll talk about specific levels a bit later. Well, after that, there are the same kinds of charts. Basically, since September 2025, I publish one post every week, sometimes several, explaining that we already have minor capitulation is happening now, and that it appears that major institutional organizations and significant holders of Bitcoin may also be winding down their investment activities, specifically in relation to their holdings of cryptocurrencies. Now, many people are already starting to say that we are rapidly heading down to the $10,000 mark, but it sounds kind of ridiculous, because that's just how it works. That's how psychology operates. Right here, we had a very significant magnetic level. This specific one right here, which we eventually reached, successfully broke through and completely took out. Most of the existing liquidity was effectively removed through a series of sales, various liquidations, and so on. Now, just recently, I happened to see a very interesting post exactly like this one, where it illustrates a general overview of this kind of story. That according to some theories, it is possible that Maybe it was actually a mathematical logarithmic scale chart. Now let us take a much closer look at this, because under the assumption that we are currently located right here, right beside this one, support line will stay here a bit longer and then go to 30. I don't even want to believe this, and I don't want to, and I won't talk about it. Anything can happen, as we see. If you look here, there are these horizontal volumes, but they are very, very, very strong. I doubt it even that we'll break through this. We might pierce it, most likely we will pierce it, but we'll come back. We have certain timings, according to which. That's how I act. We have a timing. It is now the month of September, specifically September of 2026. And right here, within this entire surrounding zone, when there will be scary stories, fear-mongering and confusion, reaccumulation will take place. How exactly that happens, well, that remains an open question. Again, I have a theory, but it's still too early to say. We've only just formed the first leg of the movement. Of this correction, it's possible we might go even lower. But here, people will experience maximum fear. Here they'll make it so that there is fear. That's it. And at the end, there will be a further slowdown in volatility, and after that, an exit, meaning there should be absolute disappointment. Right now, for just a few days, there will be a frenzy around Bitcoin. Everyone wants to buy because it was at 120, now it's 60, a 50% discount. And against this backdrop, it's possible and most likely that there will be some kind of correction upward, so that the whole crowd believes and keeps running further, with the expectation that we'll set new all-time highs, but that's unlikely to happen. It's unlikely to happen because that's just not how it works. Let's put it this way, let's be honest. We need to form a certain bottom. We can't just keep growing like this. One red candle up, down, another green candle up. In other words, the market doesn't trade quite like that, especially not an asset like Bitcoin. So get yourself ready, grab some popcorn, and then we'll be trading this bottom and accumulating. I truly hope that through the creation of these videos I have been able to help you preserve your assets. At the very least, I hope you could protect your financial capital and somehow find a way to preserve your psychological well-being and your mental health. This is so important because I remained absolutely calm and composed throughout the entirety of all of this. Every single bit of it. And today, even when things were falling, I just had a smile on my face just because this is happening. I see huge posts about liquidations, massive disappointments in all the communities. I don't have that. I don't know, maybe I'm just not in that information space. I've limited myself from those thoughts, from those people. And let's move on and just analyze other coins, as you can see here, even on the chart. Here's the limit order that was placed. It only worked out once, just once. And now Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin has officially sold off his Ether holdings at a price of $2,000 per coin. But actually that's a very bad sign, the fact that he sold all of it. Again, if we take a step back and look at the much bigger picture here, we can clearly see this kind of significant accumulation phase forming. You could certainly argue that right now, at this very moment, we are sitting right at the lower boundary of this entire long-term channel. Most likely, and I really mean most likely, we are going to see a strong breakout from this channel in an upward direction, especially because Ethereum itself has already started showing these exact same bullish signals. Vitalik Buterin says that all layer 2 solutions are ineffective, they're unnecessary, and improvements are needed. Ethereum itself is like Rome, so we're at the lower boundary of the channel, right here, here, here. So you need to buy above it and sell at the top, meaning the best idea is, of course, to buy when the resistance line or the upper boundary of the channel is broken upwards. Because after such long periods of accumulation, there usually has to be an upward breakout. So it's all pretty simple. A lot of people ask me about Solana. Honestly, I don't even have any limit orders for Solana, as you can see. But obviously that liquidity was removed. Right here is the liquidity. And I would say that many people are waiting for the age of 65. 65, I think, especially given everything that's going on right now, is what they're looking at. With the accumulation, with some Solana assets, it will also be on the list, but let's be objective. So if you look at this specific zone right here, these are the key volume points, and it's truly excellent. But the absolute best zone is located right at 55. And that's exactly it for this section. Solana is weaker than Ethereum. We can look at the same chart for Bitcoin. I've talked about this many times already. We're heading right here, exactly here, if you look. How much is that? Another minus 30%, and how much is that for us now? Roughly 30% down. If we're at 76 now, $76, and then we subtract 30%, that gives us $53.20. $3.20. So if $76 minus 30% comes to exactly $53.20. That is the absolute best and most optimal price, and it is possible it could even go lower than that. That is exactly what you can anticipate seeing, so you just need to wait. I think you're not in a rush, and there aren't going to be any huge pumps. I'm not going to get involved there. The hype feels the way I saw it. One of the best, so the very best in this market. It didn't react at all to yesterday's drop. It was bought back. A profitable project. It brings in profit, generates money. Let's continue with gold. Following this significant price decline, the gold market is currently navigating this type of situation. And I'll be honest with you. So I've spent a long time studying reversal patterns, and reversal patterns can look like this, or they might not look like this at all. Well, if it's just some illiquid asset, reversal patterns can, to put it simply, look like this one here. It could potentially look something like this, or it might even look a bit more like this instead. So like this, meaning with 3 peaks, depending on how they form. Actually, I'd even say this isn't really a reversal pattern. So, gold has always served as a safe haven asset during times of instability, and my target of $6,000 still stands. Despite the fact that we have witnessed such a significant drop in the markets, the exact same situation is currently happening with silver as well. Actually, when you look at the data, silver is doing much worse, significantly worse in fact. And you can clearly see what is happening right now. It is being aggressively sold off by investors. Many people had carefully accumulated silver for specific economic situations just like this one. And now, unfortunately, they are selling it all off. That is an undeniable fact of the current market. But if gold goes up, silver will follow it to the end. Personally, I really do think that we can, at the very least, expect to see a total of 110. As for the S&P 500, we gradually started to see some rounding off occurring here, and then it looks like some kind of movement might happen. Honestly, I won't even try to guess what could be behind it, what could be driving it this month. The monthly candle. Here we have a red one, the first in a very long time, and most likely we will have more. And against this backdrop, Bitcoin might also get pulled down. And that is exactly why. Let's see what happens. MicroStrategy, as you understand, nothing good is going to happen in the near future. It's the same story with the Coinbase lawsuit and with other crypto companies. Tesla, what's going on with Tesla? Well, Tesla, most likely it's going to move downwards along with the S&P. So, in general, not very good times are coming. They've been here for quite a while already, but the peak of all this is still ahead of us. We still have a lot of time ahead. It's only the beginning of February, and everyone is already pretty disappointed. I continue to publish lessons in the Academy, and they are absolutely free. You can follow the link in the description. Also, all my signals, all my open positions, you can see them all there. Besides that, I want you to write comments, your questions. On Monday, I'll record a new video and answer all your questions. Thank you all. Bye-bye.